welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Offsides, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, as always, Andres Robledo. I was kind of
You're
mixed
not
up with your
Pablo.
name. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Pablo the Dino Robledo. Pablo, how was your week?
Pablino, back in the house.
You mean
Week
back in
was
the house?
good.
You never left.
Huh?
You mean back? You haven't left.
I'm homeless. No, just kidding. I'm not. Week was good. Uneventful, which means nothing.
You have a good Mother's Day?
Yeah, we had a pretty lazy Mother's Day. We went to church, went to eat, and then I caught up on all my laundry.
All your dirty underwear.
Yep. And then I forgot to call my own mother, so I had to call her today.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about on this episode. We've got the recap of the Miami game, and then we've got the preview of not only the game against Montreal this Saturday, but as well as Richmond for the U.S. Open Cup round of 32 going on this Wednesday. But before we get to that, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Top Bin 90, and I wanted to thank him for having me on his show, the MLS Corner. That was a ton of fun. You know, if you guys don't follow Top Bin 90, which I'm sure most of you already do, he's a great follow on all the socials, great YouTube channel as well, and he gets a lot more exclusive access to the team than we do. So you should probably follow him more than us.
Yeah, he does get a lot of exclusive content. I saw where he had posted some of the training videos that Charlotte was going out, and I kind of like messaged him and was like, hey, is this like open to the public? Like, what's going on here? And he's like, no, it's media access only. I'm like, oh, didn't know you had that type of clearance. But
Yeah.
good on him. Yeah, he does put good stuff out. I remember when the season first started, he was one of the first ones to put out the Yazviak post that, you know, we were hopefully acquiring. And it was before anybody else, before even MLS had announced it. And so I like followed him. I'm like, oh, gonna be stealing a couple of contents from him. But
Yeah.
no, that was cool that he had you on the show. And you know, since we're just starting out, and I was like, that was just super awesome that he just reached out, and appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. We appreciate the help. Yeah, the show was a lot of fun to be on, and shout out to Lee from CLT Fan TV as well for being on there. It was great talking to both of them. But moving on, any news you want to share?
I have no news to share. I think you told me that Fuchs was gonna be starting practicing again tomorrow, and same with Franco. So yeah, kind of stole that little tidbit from you. No, I don't have anything. I tried looking up stuff, but it's same old. Nothing really crazy.
Yeah, slow news week. Maybe we should make up some rumors. We'll see how it goes. The one thing I did want to talk about, it came out today during Miguel's press conference, was he was kind of asked about the does MLS need Messi to have an impact for soccer to have an impact in America or in the United States more, and he kind of said, like, basically from what I understood, saying it'd be great for Messi to come join the MLS, but the perspective and the culture, the soccer culture in the United States is already changing. You can see it here in Charlotte. I've definitely noticed it since the team started, and I'm sure, you know, every other city that has an MLS team has also seen it grow. But, you know, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think we need a Messi type to really take MLS to the next level, or do you think it's happening organically?
No, I agree with Coach Miguel there. I think it's happened organically. I mean, if Messi came over, I don't think it would do anything. He would just sell tickets for a while, but it's only for like people that are, you know, like Messi as a player. Like
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I think he's a great player, but I wouldn't purchase season tickets or even a single ticket just to go watch him play. Like if Ronaldo came over, yeah, I would probably watch him, but like it kind of goes back to maybe like NFL. Like, you know, there's NFL also in Canada and there's NFL also in England. But if Tom Brady goes over there and plays, does that mean the fan base is gonna grow tremendously? I doubt it. I mean, it just has to happen naturally. You have to let the game evolve over there in its own way and develop its own fan base. And it's happening kind of the same way here. So yeah, we don't need a Messi or something like that to really flourish the game over here. It's happening already.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think, I mean, if the MLS wants to see bigger growth, I think it doesn't need a big superstar like Messi. I mean, obviously that'll help, but I think what really needs to change is probably more around the structure of like the league, specifically around like the whole salary cap and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff, like how teams can be built. I mean, obviously, you don't want like super teams to just happen. That kind of makes it pretty
Right.
boring. I mean, you kind of see that in the Premier League and Bundesliga and La Liga now as well. So I think somewhat of a cap makes it more interesting. I mean, like obviously we're somewhat competing.
Yeah.
You get a lot of upsets here and there, but I think it will have to change, especially as more MLS teams begin to compete in more international tournaments, just because they'll need the depth. And then, I
You know
mean,
what would make it interesting is and this is something that I think MLS will most likely never do, but relegation and promotion.
hmm
I think that would make the league a little more interesting. But that's just my thoughts on it. I've always liked that of
yeah,
a small team getting a break into the bigger clubs competition because they did well through promotion. And then poor performing teams getting bumped down. I've always thought that was kind of a neat feature.
yeah. I've always thought that as well. I think it'll be interesting to see like how we feel about it with like playoffs happening, because there is something to be said about like a team kind of making a Cinderella run and
Mm-hmm.
winning the league. Like imagine if Charlotte squeak into playoffs at seventh and all of a sudden somehow win the MLS Cup. Well, like if you have it like a regular league table and they're seventh in the table, then obviously they can't really win anything.
Right.
Um, but I think for teams where they're never making like the playoffs or they're always kind of bottom of the table, promotion regulation uh, give you something to watch for more. It's still you're still
Exactly.
fighting for something, and
Yeah.
it makes a lot of these games a bit more interesting. And I mean, you see that in the Premier League a lot. Like, a 10th place team is fighting the last place teams, and it's a big deal because sure it might not win them the league, but if they can win and get up to 16th place or whatever, then they get to stay in the league and
Right.
you get more money for next season and all this stuff. But the last thing I think MLS really needs to touch on is just how they do their TV deal with ESPN.
Yeah. God.
It is so complicated to try to watch an MLS game. I never know
ESPN
who
is
has
blacked
it.
out in all of US.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's like, oh yeah, we have all the MLS games. Like, oh well, I want to watch my local team. Oh yeah, no, not available in your area. It's like,
It's
what?
so just like I think this is a scam to try to get you to also buy those VPN packages.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm actually watching from Australia, so it shouldn't be blacked out here.
They start selling their own VPN.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. Like,
And then even like who has the local game or like when they're away, like what channel to watch on. It's like
right.
it's no easy task to find the game ever.
No. It's like sending a cross to our guys. It's just whoever gets it.
Yeah.
No, it's no fun. I know what you mean. Like whenever we had we had that bundle, it was like Disney and Hulu and ESPN. I'm like, oh cool, I'll get to watch some soccer games and all that. Then I turned them on and I was like blacked out. I'm like, what do you mean black? Like it's just I'm paying for this.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up just having to buy the Hulu Live, which is just like having cable again.
Uh-huh.
Just somehow that you get around it that way.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, don't tell them that.
Yeah, please don't fix that loophole.
Yeah. It's yeah, it makes it just that much harder to watch the game. But
Yeah.
part of it, I guess. I mean, it's not my company. Not yet.
Yeah, Bob Iger, we're coming for you. I think he retired actually.
Go daddy.
All right, so we can I didn't bring this up before, but we can either talk about the game this past weekend or we can talk about the Night of the Museum movies. I watched all those this past weekend also. So which would you rather do?
How many Night of the Museum movies are there?
Surprisingly, there's 3. I only thought there was 2 until I found the third one this weekend.
I thought there was just one.
No.
Oh, is Ben Stiller in all 3?
Yeah.
Oh god. 3 years.
Those
Gone
movies
downward.
have quite the cast of characters for especially like from when they came out. I mean, obviously the first one's got like all the guys who were big in the early 2000s, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Robin Williams. But then you go to the second one, which came out in like 09 or 10, and you've got like Amy Adams in there. You got John Bernthal in there. Hank Azaria's in there, the famous Simpsons voice actor.
Mm.
And Hank Azaria plays the main character, but like John Bernthal and Amy Adams are like side characters. Craig
Why did you
Robinson's in
even
it.
watch all those movies?
Dude, those movies bring up a lot of interesting questions.
Well, actually, I can't really make fun of you too much. I ended up watching Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back yesterday. So
the new one or the original?
The new one, because I couldn't
like
find the
3D
original. I'm like, fine, I'll watch this
animated one?
digital crap.
Looks like it would give me a panic attack.
It was all right. I mean, I don't know. For some odd reason, I'm like super into Pokemon again. I even took Callie's Game Boy. I'm like, I'm starting your game over with like Game Boy the Pokemon Yellow. Like, I'm starting this over.
Why don't you just get a Game Boy emulator on your laptop?
I think I'm gonna get the Switch and get that new Pokemon game.
All right, let's actually.
I hope Angel's not listening.
Just a mysterious like $300 purchase.
No, I'm gonna keep it at work.
Oh boy. All right, let's actually talk about the game because it was an exciting one. So we were back at the Bank of America Stadium, nice early home game, and man, it was felt great to be back in that atmosphere. I kind of forgot like how exciting it was to be there, how loud that place gets. I think a little over 32,000 people were there, which I was a little bit worried about because they'd been away for so long, had some of the hype died down, plus the past 3 MLS performances weren't great. I was a little bit worried if people were kind of not go, maybe do something else, especially being a holiday weekend, middle of Saturday.
Oh, true.
But the people showed out. Supporter section was going nuts as always, and I loved that they now have a Colombian flag in there. That is awesome. Something I never thought I would see growing up here in North Carolina. One, seeing attending soccer games every weekend, and then 2, having a bunch of people just waving a Colombian flag. I mean, that is just trippy.
Did they say how many? What was the attendance?
I think a little over 32,000. I could pull up the actual.
So still holding the 30,000 mark. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, every home game has been, I think, except the New England game, has been over 30,000 people, and the New England was like 29 and like high 29.
So close.
Yeah. So it was great to be back.
I saw that they're still keeping the tradition of fans singing the national anthem.
Yeah, that one was a surprise. I kind of thought that was gonna go away, but it was cool. I tried to sing in an octave voice, get that deep bass going, and Jen just started laughing at me, so I felt a little judged, so I just quit singing that way. But I was giving it my all, and thankfully they have the lyrics up there because I would not know what to sing.
I wonder how many people don't know the lyrics.
I would say like
I want to say
over 50%.
I'm sure there's more people that know the lyrics that there isn't, because obviously then 3/4 of the stadium wouldn't be singing it. But they could always just like do like the fake crowd. You know how like when they had the pandemic and the NFL had the fake crowd noises in the stadium when you're watching on TV.
Yeah,
they could just do that, like a fake crowd national anthem.
Well, it's like Augusta at the Masters. The CBS pipes in all the bird noises. Like those are all fake.
Yeah, I sent you that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I sent you all those little facts about it.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
They spray paint the grass.
Which is what I'm gonna do with my lawn.
Tiger Woods is CGI'd on. All the shots are CGI'd.
Some random guy in a CGI suit. All right, let's actually get to talking about this match.
Still in a car in a ditch somewhere.
Oh man, what Tiger?
Let's go Tiger!
Yeah, 32,018 was the attendance at the Miami versus Charlotte game.
Well, I believed you. Well, like going back, how you said, it was exciting to be back at home, exciting to be back in the stadium and cheering for the team. Like that's like one thing that I like, because I went to games in Colombia and I know like how crazy they get down there in the stadiums, and like so that was one thing that was really excited about when Charlotte finally brought over an MLS team. And one thing that I kind of worried about was, is it going to be the same atmosphere as it is in, real heavy fan based areas?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to have just stayed that way. And like, the first home opener. It was like crazy atmosphere, and from what I've been able to see on the television, watching the games at from my house while they played at home, and you've been there at every home game. You said the atmosphere hasn't really changed a bit, so like that's exciting. I got tickets coming up for when the Red Bulls come in June 11th, and I'm super excited to just go take part of that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one too against New York.
Yeah, strong opponent.
Yeah. It was it's really cool too because like I mean before the only events I'd been to at that stadium were football games, and even there like not everyone that attends is a Panthers fan.
Right.
Like you'd be surprised like if you've never attended a Panthers game, I think you'd be surprised how many away fans there actually are for
End up
teams.
showing up, yeah. Except for like that one winning season we had.
Yeah. But here everyone is wearing like Charlotte stuff for the most part. I'd say like 95% of people are wearing either a jersey or like a shirt that says like Charlotte FC or CLTFC, and the other 5% are like they just wear a random soccer jersey. Like I saw some Tottenham jerseys, saw like some Man City jerseys, like some Messi jerseys, which is fine.
Thrift store.
Yeah, which is you wear whatever you like, but but it was cool to see like how many people are there for the team,
yeah.
And it's been like that for every game. Like there hasn't been.
And I see the jerseys out and about too.
Yeah.
Like whenever we're at the girls' soccer games at the little Saturday mornings, kids games, like I'll see parents wearing jerseys. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
The fan base is out here, like even way out in the sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's what was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. Oh, I was gonna say like it's been like that for every home game as well. Like even when LA came, like it was. Like I think we said on the first episode, like 98% Charlotte fan.
Right.
So that's been really cool because usually, like if the LA Rams came to play the Panthers, I'm pretty sure you'd see like a lot of LA Rams fans.
A lot of Rams, yeah. Well, I still remember the first football game Dad ever took us to. This was when I was still probably in middle school, or I don't know if you remember going with us. But it was against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and I was like, just nothing but Pittsburgh jerseys everywhere. And I thought that was so odd for that home team to have more away fans. I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah,
because that was like my first stadium event ever. And
I remember because it took forever to get started, and I think like as soon as it started, I fell asleep and slept through the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and then because like going back to the Colombian soccer matches I'd been to, like you had to separate the two fan bases because they would get so rowdy and sometimes violent. But yeah, like you just you don't see that here, but here with Charlotte, you do kind of see like it's hard to find an away jersey out here. I was gonna ask you about the Atlanta one, but you didn't go to that one. But I'm sure there was some sort of fan base there.
Yeah.
Which is fine when we're building, like a good rivalry.
Yeah. There was a fan, like Atlanta is the only one so far that has had like traveling fans. I think it was probably like a couple hundred, maybe like 500 or 600 people. At least that's what I've heard and seen pictures of.
Yeah.
But other than that, like none of the other teams have had big fan bases show up. I saw a couple pictures of some Miami fans hanging out at the tailgate for the Charlotte FC tailgate, which actually we should talk about that for a second. Apparently they had like amateur wrestling at the tailgate, like WWE style. That was interesting.
Like the fans could wrestle?
I think it was like a performance, but like there was clips of it on Twitter, of it happening.
Give him the chair.
I mean, that is so crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
totally Charlotte too.
Yeah. So definitely
I see
gonna
signs
have to...
all over, like whenever I'm driving through like Belmont on Mount Holly or just Gastonia, be like amateur wrestling coming this Saturday. I'm like, I want to go to those ones so bad.
When we lived in Atlanta, one of Jennifer's friends, she did it, and we went to go see it. It was crazy. It was a lot of fun to like go see it.
When we went to Tennessee, they had we went to Gatlinburg, which is like Catalina said, it's like the Myrtle Beach of the mountains where they have like all the shows and all that stuff. But they had one show, it was I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but it was just midget wrestling. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can't in good conscience go to that show.
Yeah, we might cut that out. All right, so back to the game. Long tangent. But so we see Charlotte back at home finally with a new formation that I think everyone has been, screaming for. We're in the more modern 4-3-3. We get Fuchs back at center back. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. My dog attacked an innocent bird. I had to go get a lawyer and get him out of it. Um,
That joke.
So yeah, we're back with a new formation, the 4-3-3. We saw Fuchs back at center back and Mora back at left back. Midfield was Bronico, Ruiz, and Bender back at the starting lineup. Ortiz was rightfully so dropped to the bench. And then we see Mackenzie Gaines, Yazwiak getting his first start, and Swiderski making up the front three with Yazwiak and Gaines on the wings and Swiderski as the center forward or striker. What do you think of the lineup changes?
I like that lineup. I thought Yazviak definitely deserved that start. So did Bender. I mean, Bender has just proven time and time again that he deserves to be starting. And same for Roja. What is it? I forgot his name.
Ruiz.
Ruiz. And then who was the left back? I forgot his name. Mora, that's who I blanked on. I thought those guys who, I mean, Bender obviously has been getting more and more starts, but he had been subbed a couple, not subbed, but benched a couple of times. But besides Bender, I thought those guys should have been starting this whole time. I have been critical of Ruiz here lately, but he has been improving like game after game, and especially on this game, like he really impressed me this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game really just kind of begs the question as to like were some of these poorer performances earlier in the season just due to that formation. I mean, I thought Ruiz had a much better game. I mean, the whole team overall just looked way better. We created a lot more chances. Someone we've been heavily critical against, Bronico, he had a much better game, like a way better game comparatively to the last couple.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he set up the play for the winning goal.
Although I still say that anybody in that spot could have probably made that same pass. Like Bronico was just doing his job.
Yeah, maybe. But I think he had other moments throughout the game where he found some creative passes, and he had some good moments, some good interceptions. A much better game. Ruiz had a way better game. I mean, he looked like the guy that was hyped about, like this creative center mid that really dictates the tempo of the game. He was setting up everyone, finding good space.
Yep.
Good interceptions. A super game from him. But yeah, I mean, this whole formation just made the whole entire team look way better. Where do you want to start with it?
Well, let me just ask you this. Do you think we just looked this better because we were playing like a weaker team that didn't really have their main starters, or was it the formation change that made this like the package deal?
Probably a bit of both, right?
Because I know Miami, they were missing one of their main center backs due to, I believe, injuries, and they had one of the other starters out with a red card. So I mean that could make a difference, but also Miami they haven't been one of the stronger opponents that we've have faced. Like I think when you and I saw this match scheduled beginning of the season, we figured this was going to be most likely a win. I was expecting a little bit more than a 1-0, to be honest. But I'll take the 3 points no matter how they come.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I talked about this on the MLS Corner, but we seemed to be at the beginning of the season. Yeah, definitely Miami looked like it was going to should be an easy win, but they were on a hot streak. Like they were starting to catch some momentum. Like they had won 4 of their last 5. The game that they had lost the week before to New England at New England, but other than that, they had won their last 4 matches, including their one in the U.S. Open Cup. But I think it's a bit of both, right? I think they had some opportunities that maybe a better team would have put away.
True.
And maybe a better back line might have stopped a couple of things. But I think there was a lot of things the team was doing that we just hadn't seen all season. A lot of like quick 1-2 passes.
Yeah.
Nice little like chip balls over the top of the back line. to find players, playing ground passes across the face of goal. I mean, just some of
I
the
saw a lot more. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I was gonna say I saw a lot more shots at the top of the box taken
yeah.
at this game than we did the whole series we were away.
Yeah, so it's things like that to where it probably is a bit of both, right? It is a weaker opponent than say like a Philadelphia or New York Red Bulls,
Mm-hmm.
but the team just performed completely different than they have the last 3 games. Uh, especially, if you compare it to the Orlando game or even the Colorado game. I mean, like, we just set up a lot of chances that we were not setting up before. And
Right.
the tempo we were playing at, like some of the counterattacks we had, like we hadn't seen that kind of a
Oh
quick
yeah.
play before. A totally different team than what we've seen the last couple matches. As we talked through the first half here, one guy I definitely want to highlight was Mackenzie Gaines. Unfortunate to not get on the score sheet, but man, his speed just lets him find some really good pockets of space. And
Yeah.
that's where we were really looking dangerous. Was Fuchs had a great long ball to him over the top of everyone. Lindsay had a great ball over the top of the center backs to him. He was Ruiz was finding him in space. So I mean, he could have had 3 or 4 goals last game, and just a little unlucky to. It seemed like the ball was just sticking to him. He just could not get it out from underneath him. But that's something we weren't seeing before was him finding a lot of these great like one-on-one chances.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I think it was in the first half where I can't recall who sent him the long ball, but it was like right in front of him, and if he would have had like a real good first touch, where I think he either got stuck on the ball or the ball got stuck behind him, or he just maybe got stuck on the turf. But he just kind of lost it there. Like, man, that was one opportunity he kind of gave up there. One of many that he had all game. But it was like what you said earlier, like the space he was finding, and
Mm-hmm.
he was just outrunning his marks. Um, just goes to highlight like the ability that this player has, and lucky for us, he's still a young guy, so there's just so much more he can improve on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I thought Mora had a really great game. I think he answered a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like uh, you
The
know,
doubters.
yeah, a lot of opinions that some people had against him of not being able to go forward or be, an outlet for the offense.
Yeah.
I thought he completely shut that down, especially early in the first half. Like,
Yeah.
the first 25, 30 minutes of the first half, he was like, not all the time, but like when he did find the ball in that third, like he was finding players. Like, he set Swiderski up for a header. It's probably
Yeah.
like the first header we've seen all season.
Yeah.
And he, Swiderski put it on frame. He and Yazwiak connected really well and was able to play a ball across the face of goal. A great game from him as well. Anyone in particular you want to highlight?
I mean, yes and no. That there's basically what I want to go into is there seems to be a lot of players that seem to play well on this formation, and from what I saw in this game, they seem to play well off each other. You mentioned a pair just now, Yazviak and Mora. Like those guys seem to have like a real good 1-2 passing game going on. Same for Ruiz and Soderski. I mean, Ruiz was setting up just everybody, but
Yeah.
like uh, he had a lot of one good 1-2 passes going on with players. Um, and Yazviak and Soderski seemed to work well, pretty well together as, up there, like at the finishing third.
Yeah.
I thought maybe like keep that same lineup
Hmm.
and let those guys develop more chemistry, and it's gonna be like no look passes coming soon.
Yeah. I also really liked like with Yazwiak and Swiderski being in, connect on that left side. It also
Mm-hmm.
actually opened up a lot of space for Bender to like sneak in between the two. There's a lot of times where like Yazwiak was pulling out the outside defender
Yep.
and Swiderski was pulling in like the two center backs, and Bender was able to just find spaces in between those guys. Like there was one where I think it was Ruiz that played him the ball, but he was just at the top of the box, and if he just would have had a bit of a better first touch, I mean, he would have been in a really dangerous position. And
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Bender find more of that space. Like he was doing that constantly, just finding these like little pockets of space and like getting other players into those same spaces too. Like
Drawing defenders.
Yeah, like he had some really good passes of just finding like Swiderski in bits of space, where like he just like like he was just in between defenders and they didn't know like should I go cover or should you go cover, and it was just like getting these 2 or 3 seconds, which is so valuable.
Yeah.
But and again, it's just little things like that that we just hadn't seen all season before. Everything was a lot more direct, and this time it was like really creative, like really finding good space, and playing balls into space, which is like something we've been talking about nonstop. It feels like, as opposed to just playing it always to your teammate, just kind of playing it in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to do that a good bit. Uh, so that was great to see. Yeah, hopefully uh, next weekend we'll stick with a similar lineup. Wouldn't mind seeing maybe Reyna get in the starting lineup, but also if he doesn't, that's fine as well. I thought both wingers had a good enough game to
Yeah.
compete for the starting lineup. So either way, I'm good with.
Yeah. From the results that, came out of this game and how well they both played, I think it solidifies whatever decision the coach makes. Although I think you and I both know most likely it's going to be Osviak starting and Reyna subbing in.
Yeah.
But either way, like they're both great at that position.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then on the other side too, you've got Gaines, or you can get
yeah.
Andre in there now as well, who
Oh yeah.
obviously got on the score sheet. Like, man, the options you have coming off the bench, like in the second half when
Yeah.
defenders are tired,
And
it's
that's
just
another
so
good
nice.
little link up I forgot to mention earlier was Reyna and Shazam. I forget how you say his
You
name.
can just say Andre. It's his first name.
Andre.
Yeah.
Okay, well Andre. Those two. So obviously they had spoiler alert. They had the one connection where he had the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But even after that, there was like another 2 or 3 crosses where he got to him. It was unfortunate for the finishing. But those guys seem to be like a dual threat sub, where they come in and they just connect really well.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing those two in the future. See how if they continue this type of team chemistry they're building up there.
And then the crazy part too is like you still got Franco and Alcivar sitting on the bench as well for even like more, midfield options too for
Mm-hmm.
Ruiz and Bronico and Bender. So we've
Yeah.
actually got like a lot of depth at the attack now, and then Pro and Vargas coming in soon. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
And another winger or center forward that could play. So some exciting stuff for the team, especially in this formation, which is kind of what a lot of people have been saying all season long.
But I will say this, even though we won and it was 1-0 and it could have been easily a 3-0 win, and Miami, I still think is a weaker team in comparison to us. They did expose quite a bit of a gap in our defense, especially right there at the center backs where they would draw Fuchs and Corujo out of place and like sneak in shots. Props to Kalina for keeping us in that game because I get that they gave the man of the match to Andre, but I also thought that Kalina was well deserved. Like without his saves, and him being in such great position when those attacks came, it could have been the other way around. This game could have been like a 3-1.
Yeah, I would say that is like maybe the only downside of this formation is that it did seem to leave us pretty exposed to like counterattacks. But I mean, luckily you got Kalina there, you got Corujo there, Fuchs there. I feel pretty confident in that back line of being able to kind of shut those down. But hopefully, we have less chances created on us going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I get that you're not gonna block all the attacks, and they are gonna have shots on goal. But it kind of did it like on this game, they all kind of seem to happen from, I don't want to say the exact same players or position, but it was like just a quick counterattacks that got us.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. And then the last highlights for the first half that you wanted to shout out were, thought Lindsay had another great game as well. Of, not necessarily like crossing on the wing, still think he needs to work on that, but he was able to find like Gaines and Yazwiak a couple times, and Swiderski like just a quick over the top ball from like in our own half, which is again like something we haven't really been seeing. We're just like kind of quick passes, but I thought he did well at that. Kind of being another option of setting up an attacking play, and he had the shot outside the box on the
Oh, that
I
was a
think it was
great
the
shot.
rebound of the corner. Um,
I mean, how many corners did we have? It's hard
yeah,
to tell if that was a rebound from that corner or not. I can't remember.
I
We
can't
had like,
remember where the shot came from, but it was good, good effort by him.
yeah, very.
Forced a really good save too. I mean, like that could have easily have gone in as well. Uh, so great for him. And then yeah, I mean, Kalina was just huge this game and really kept us in it. Anyone else, or do you just want to jump into the second half?
No, in the first half, I thought we came out really strong. We kind of set the pace real early on.
Yeah, I mean, we dominated the first like 35 minutes. I think at one point it was like 62% possession to their 38.
Right.
You know, it it was a while before they touched the ball again.
Yeah, before they
And that
really started making attacks.
yeah.
Yeah, I do recall that. Um, I mean, if there's anything to take away from the first half or just the whole game overall is like the crossing. It just they need to work on the accuracy
Mhm.
and just the finishing. Like we could have if they would have just finished or like the placement of those shots and some of them because some of them seem to like those shots seem to go like right at the goalie.
Yeah.
Um, but you and I also talked about like that goalie was he seemed just a real tall, real lengthy guy.
Mhm.
Even in comparison to our Kalina, like I think he had probably a good 2 to 3 inches on Kalina,
Yeah, he seemed
which
like a
makes a
pretty big
difference.
guy.
But from some of the shots and even the one header that we had, it just seemed like the goalie barely had to move for those to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely forced to make a couple good saves. 2 or 3
Yeah,
come
I
to
think
mind.
the Swiderski header, he definitely had to jump for that one. But
There was a shot he had to like kind of dive in the top corner for.
I don't recall for that one.
Uh,
Um, I know the Lindsay shot he barely had to move for. It kind of was like he just kind of went to the side. The
mhm.
Sudarski shot, um,
Ruiz's shot kind of went right
yeah,
at him.
Ruiz's shot, he just kind of went to the side for it. So like yeah, we had the shots and stuff, but it was like the power was there. Just the placement could have been a little bit better.
Mhm.
And then also like just the crossing into the box. It was just there was guys in the box, but it was just not accurate crossing.
Yeah, and probably
The only decent cross we had in the first half was from Mora
yeah.
to Soderski, and that's when Soderski had that good and probably only header.
Yeah, that is the one thing the team needs to work on is not just like crossing but corner kicks too.
Yeah, just those
I
set pieces.
think we had 8 in the first half, and I mean I don't think any really threatened the goal. I mean, I think Lindsay's shot came from like a rebound from the corner kick, but besides that, like none of them were ever very threatening. I did like that they tried something new with the short corner kick. I mean, I figured, well, why not try it? Uh, the regular routine isn't working, and if you try a short corner, you kind of throw the back line's timing off, so maybe that finds you some space. But we got to figure out something with those corner kicks, especially when you get. I think by the end of the game we had 12, something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a ton.
yeah, we did have 12 corner kicks there, and I don't know, it seemed like they kind of just either went over or just went to nobody.
Or sometimes like didn't even beat the first defender, which
Right,
is always
yeah.
frustrating.
I know what you're talking about when they played the short corner at the first one. I remember them seeing that one went out okay. Like they were kind of
Mm-hmm.
somewhat quick about it, and they had uh a decent result out of it. The second one was just a total waste. It was slow moving and nothing came out of that one.
Yeah.
So I mean, they just need to work on those set pieces better.
Yeah, I agree.
And just more quickness out of it if they're gonna do the short ones at least.
Yeah, and then I guess the last negative thing that I have to say at least was Fajerski's performance was a little lackluster. Kind of just felt like again he was trying to do a bit too much. Held on to the ball a little bit too long sometimes, or didn't quite get the shot quick enough. There's a couple times where he got the ball into a great space, and it just seemed like he had to cut back to his left foot instead of just taking it quickly with the right. So that is something to watch for. But other than that, like I think he just feels a lot of pressure right now of, having to be the main guy to score, and hopefully some of that pressure is relieved now. Like we got Andre on the score sheet, Ruiz is getting more shots off, Gaines is looking more threatening, Reyna's looking more threatening. So hopefully he, feels less pressure and can kind of play a little bit easier and maybe more natural, and that'll get him back to scoring goals. But this game, it just you could really feel like what he was just like trying really hard, and it kind of got like in his own way sometimes, similar to like last week.
Yeah.
But hopefully he kind of finds his form again, which I'm sure he will, especially now that not all the goal scoring pressure is on him, and there's more opportunities being created too, right? As before we maybe only created one or two opportunities, so if he didn't bag those in, it was like game over. But now we're starting to create more.
Do you think he's worried about maybe his start and role as a team? Because I mean, all the new signings seem to be forward players.
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of them are for the wing, and so we have depth at that wing position, and we do have depth at the striker position too with Rios, and I think with Kerwin Vargas joining, he'll be able to slot into both.
Right.
But I think he just feels pressure to like try to get a result for the team, just because before, like again, we just weren't creating that many chances. So if he had one shot on goal and he didn't make it, it was kind of like that was kind of it.
Yeah.
But
And that
now
is his job though, is putting those balls in the back of the net. But
yeah, but when you're not getting like the service to have like multiple goes at it, that can be like really frustrating and
right.
puts pressure more on your finishing. But now that the team seems to be free flowing a bit more and creating more chances, hopefully he feels less pressure and can kind of just play on instinct more than like having to stop and think.
Yeah.
Which I think is what he's having to do right now.
I did see that he wasn't out there throwing his hands and getting all frustrated with his teammates and or just in general. Like, when other guys had shots and they were on goal, like I saw him, clapping as he walked back, and we're telling them, I don't know what he was telling, but it seemed like one of those like, good job, keep trying. Or,
yeah.
It wasn't his regular fits of rage that he throws when things aren't going our way. But yeah, I think you're on to something there. It does probably take a little bit of the edge off when it's not just him doing everything.
Yeah, because I mean, like we've said in some of the other games, I mean, how deep he's had to like drop just to try to get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, now he can play far more up the field with this formation, especially like with Lindsay and Mora finding these balls over the top, and like with the speed we have on the wings, like he can kind of like let those guys run onto those balls and just be there to kind of poach them in when they like cut it back. I think he just has a lot better service now, and is going to allow him to play a much easier game, I think, where he's not going to have to do as much.
Yeah. Yep.
So the second half, I would say we probably didn't start the second half as strong. It's probably a bit more back and forth.
Yeah, it was a slow start.
Yeah, we kind of let Miami back into the fight a little bit, but we made some early substitutions. We brought Andre on in like the mid 50th minute along with Yordi Reyna.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that was really a difference maker. Reyna had probably the game of the season so far for himself.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the quickness that guy has is just amazing.
And the vision too. Like he just plays like these perfectly weighted little like chip passes. And obviously his dribbling. I mean, he
those long. He even sent a couple of long balls that were like right on.
Yeah.
Like I mean, all you have to do as a receiving player was stick your foot. And you saw it from the first goal. Was just stick your foot out, and then the ball is going in a positive momentum.
Yeah. So that was awesome to see that performance. Really good performance. And then from Andre Shinyazinski, the new signing.
You can just say Andre.
to get a goal on his debut. That's got to feel good, especially in front of 32,000 fans. What did you think of the goal?
I thought that was a good goal. I was surprised that it went in from that angle. But man, that must have been, that was awesome just for like, that guy's debut, and then he gets a goal. And then also I'm glad that the cross that came in from Reyna, because for the home opener, and I know you like Reyna too much, and he has been kind of MIA recently. He didn't have a great game against Greenville. but like
He's been hot and cold.
he has, but like from the short bits of action that he has had, and from what I've seen, like I see so much potential for that guy. Like just the quickness that he has and the accuracy, and the agility that this guy has is like it's baffling to me that he's not getting more minutes. And I think the performance that he had on this game should definitely like solidify him getting more minutes in future games.
Yeah, I mean, to not only play the ball first time, but like to perfectly like weigh that ball. I mean, that ball like landed on Andre's foot.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like you said, he didn't have to do much but stick it out, and to be able to do that with the first touch while on the run, and like to not overhit it or anything like that. Like, I mean, it's just perfectly placed pass.
Yeah.
Great to see. And he had a couple other great passes. He had one before the goal to Swiderski where he just found him like a ton of space, and unfortunately Swiderski's first touch kind of let him down. He couldn't bring the ball down quick enough, but just stuff like that, like just finding that like ball into perfectly onto the player in a great pocket of space, was something that the team was really missing. And I thought it was like the kind of the big difference between him and Yazwiak. I didn't really see Yazwiak playing that ball too much, or like passes like that. But like he was kind of more of like a 1-2 pass, or just kind of dribbling by people. But Reyna had, I would say, like both really. I mean, like the highlight we just saw there towards the end of the game, he literally made DeAndre Yedlin, who's a former Premier League player, just sit down. I mean, that highlight is so
Yeah,
great
that
to
was a
see.
nasty step over he had. I will question the choice to shoot there with such a small angle, but it's towards the end of the match. We most likely got in the bag, but he did have there. He had Rios somewhat open and Bronico wide open.
Yeah.
Where I felt like if he would have passed it to Bronico, that would have been goal number 2. But that's fine. I mean, he probably listens to us and doesn't like Bronico like we do.
No, again, like I thought Bronico had a way better game this time. And
I mean, it's about time. We're what, 10 games into the season? He's finally doing his job.
Yeah,
it's about time.
Yeah, some of my criticism I forgive, just because I think maybe it was a system thing. And this next week will really be the test, right? Much stronger opponent.
If they play the same formation.
Yeah, well, I think going forward they will. It wouldn't make sense to switch
He seems to change
back.
it up so much. It's like we'll have a good match, we'll play a good formation, or we'll play a good lineup, and then he'll change it up, and it'll be like McCoon starting, and then we lose, and then it's like, so we'll see, because we're playing Montreal next. They're third in the tables. They're gonna be a strong opponent.
They just beat Orlando 4-1.
So like, who knows what this coach is gonna do? He seems to change it up on the fly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's more of like this past game. Some of the other substitutions that got in besides Jordi Reyna and Andre Shinjazinski, we had McCoon come on for Fuchs, because unfortunately Fuchs went down with a bit of an injury, but it looks like he'll be fine to play next weekend. And then we also had Alcivar come on for Ruiz, which I thought that's a nice little, also like great substitution to be able to make like in middle of the second half. It's like you're taking off a starter, but you're putting on a guy who is basically also a starter and also a creative midfielder.
I forget that MLS has 5 subs.
Yeah, I like it.
No, yeah, I'm fine with it. That's good. It gives you, more options, more and less of a chance for guys to get injured playing out there for so long. But you get used to just doing 3 subs for so long. I forget that like you still have 2 other subs, and
yeah,
because sometimes I'll be real critical of the timing of the subs and who he puts in, but I'm like, oh, that's right, he still has like 2 other subs he can do.
Yeah. And it's starting, I think, in the UEFA Champions League, you can do 5 subs as well.
Yeah, I know some leagues are incorporated in it, some aren't. But I don't know about the World Cup if they're doing it or not, but I think just like FIFA overall has made that rule change.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'll probably do 5 subs at the World Cup, especially in those
just
conditions.
Makes sense. Like, why would you not just get more fresh legs in there?
Yeah. And then who else did we have in? We had Rios come in for Swiderski. I think that was the last substitution.
Right, yeah, which
That
is
was
fine.
that was the only one I was a bit questionable on, especially because it came on so late. We really need the 3 points. I think it would have been. I mean, I guess in hindsight it didn't matter, but I would have liked to see like Derek Jones come on and just kind of solidify the win. Probably put him in for Bronico. Bronico's on the yellow card. You don't want him to pick up a
Yeah.
second. So just kind of like put in fresh legs, especially one that's physical and great defender. But I guess it worked out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of gotta go with I'm fine with that sub there, because if Bronico gets a second yellow, then he's out for the next game. That means Jones is definitely starting.
Maybe.
So that's fine. But also I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of politics there, because Rios, I don't think he's done anything to like hurt his like his performances haven't been bad. So maybe he just doesn't want to like hurt his feelings or something about benching him because of the new formation.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like, all right, you get a little bit of time too. Something like that. Maybe it's something like that going on.
I could see that.
Or Soderski's tired. I mean, we are, 10 games in now.
Yeah,
and we got a game coming up Wednesday.
And I think Soderski's played all 90 of like the last couple of games. I know early on he didn't, but I think ever since the first Atlanta game,
why not give your starting striker a little bit of extra breathing?
Yeah, no, definitely. It just would have sucked if it would have like dropped to 1-1, and then you've got Rios as your main guy, like to try to get your second goal.
Yeah,
that
and
then
Rios really needs to get one in.
Yeah,
like, come on now. Everyone else is scoring. The new guy scored.
Kalina scored. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to see Kalina do a free kick.
That'd be sick.
Also, that's another thing. Like Kalina, he
had some good passes over the top and a good throw too.
Yeah, the throw, but mainly like his those passes over the top. Like he had one to Swiderski that was really great, and I think, man, he had another one too that was like real accurate to the midfield. I was like, good lord, like how does he do that? He just, most of the times you see goalies just drop it and boot it up in the air, and like whoever gets it gets it. But like his are just accurate and direct. I'm like,
I mean, he finds like some good like passes.
Yeah, like whoever negotiated and recruited Kalina, like good job for finding him, because that guy is a wall, and he's just like laser beam passing.
Best keeper in the MLS.
Best keeper in the MLS. Yep,
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, if it hadn't been for our back line, like, dude, what I tell you? When McCoon doesn't start, clean sheet.
Yeah.
Third clean sheet.
That's very true. Very true. Any other points for the game? Anything else you want to highlight, talk about?
No, I mean, I think the team they still have a lot of work ahead of them. They still need to finish in that third attack, and like we had a lot of opportunities, but we just didn't finish. The placement could have been better in some of these shots. Maybe, some of those shots were just like direct that goal, like in the general area where the goalie's at. Maybe try, upper post or lower post, or just near the post, somewhere out of reach. Our set pieces are just, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but they're just garbage right now. Yeah. Like our corners are just, you can almost guarantee we're not going to score.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because, that's where our first goal came from, and also our only goal against Atlanta. Although it wasn't a header, but it was still, the Olympical goal from a corner. But to have 12 corners and not even a goal out of it, or just a decent attempt, was, to me, not very impressive.
Yeah.
But I do like that they are taking more shots from the top of the box. I do like that Yazviak, like you said, Reyna is good for sending those crosses in and taking it along on the sides. Where I saw Yazviak cutting back and heading towards the center, I'm like, yes, finally, like somebody's not just going down the sides. Like they're taking it down to the center, passing it to Ruiz, and Ruiz distributes it from there. Like a lot of our chances, especially in that first half, came from plays like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, like I think with the formation change, the team just looked so much better, especially compared to Orlando. That Orlando performance just, I mean, they just looked like a whole different team.
Yeah.
Um,
And even if they had played against Orlando like they played against Miami and had lost, I still would have said, like, that was a fine loss. That was like
mhm.
good effort.
Yeah,
But
just things didn't go your way that game, and
right,
that
yeah,
sometimes that
exactly.
happens. But
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like the goalie just blocked their shots or whatever. But against Orlando, they just didn't have that same type of effort.
yeah,
Like they just didn't have that same drive. It
hmm
didn't seem like it. They seemed tired. They seemed sluggish. Uh, and it seemed like they just wanted to get a 0-0 easy point out of it.
yeah,
But I'm hoping that they put the same type of effort into every game going in, and I hope the coach doesn't change up the lineup for next game.
yeah, and hopefully we, I would say the only thing we're missing now is a little bit more depth in the back line.
Mm-hmm.
Another someone who can, preferably someone who could play on either outside back positions, left or right back, but definitely a left back. Another left back would be good, just because if Fuchs goes down or if Mora goes down, like there's just no one really to cover for those two that at the same quality right now.
Right.
So hopefully Mora stays healthy until the market opens back up, and hopefully we go get a left back somewhere. And I think if we do that, I mean, this team is in prime position to make playoffs, like we've been saying after that. I think after the New England game, we've said they look like a team that can make playoffs. Especially if they play this way, I don't see any reason why this team can't make it in the top 7 of the table.
Yeah, it'll be I mean, just being realistic, playing against Montreal next game is it's going to be tough. Um, I'm hoping that we come away with a win, and with this being a home game, and the record that we have now at home, where
4 wins in a row at home.
right, yeah, let's try to keep that streak going. But on realistic terms, Montreal, uh, not just on paper, but just watching their little bit of highlights we watched, they seem to be just a much better team.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be more composed, and they kind of they have a set team. They know what the plan is. Where we're still like tinkering with the lineup.
Yeah.
And anytime you start tinkering around with that, it's harder. It's harder for your game plan to not only develop but stay consistent.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that we did when I was on the Top Bin 90s show, the MLS Corner, was we kind of, how many points out of the next 3 home matches would you be happy with? I think the consensus ended up being like, 7. If we can get 7 points from these next 3 games, I think that'd be great. That'd be putting us in a good spot. What do you think? I mean, it's a little bit easier for you now since we've got 3. So I guess for the next 2 home games, I mean, how many points do you think realistically we can come away with?
Who's after Montreal?
Vancouver, which is another tough team, but they're
Oh,
on the West.
like realistically, if we can get a point out of Montreal, then I'm good with that. Probably. I mean, what's Vancouver out on the tables? Do you
I think
know?
they're second in the West.
Oh, are they?
Let me check.
Yeah. And that's just me being realistic. If we can get a 0-0 draw out of them, then that's probably best case scenario right now for the depth that we have, in how we have been performing. Just because, yeah, I get that we have a good record at home, but if we're being honest, who have we beat at home?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally off on Whitecaps. They're 14th.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so that should be a
Okay,
pretty
so
easy
I'm
win.
saying, we beat Whitecaps, that's 3, and we 0-0 Montreal, so that's like, basic case scenario, I'm thinking 4 points. So yeah, so plus the 3 we just got, that's 7.
Yeah.
So that's probably unrealistic in lieu of how we have been performing as a new team in the MLS. that's still, getting put together as it goes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think if we can get 7, that puts us in a good position. And then if we can play like this away, I mean, that's huge, right? I think we
Right.
get way more opportunities to grab points on the road compared to, our last road performances.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You would need like some type of um like just a bit of flair of magic to maybe beat Montreal and keep it like a 1-0 game, similar to how we did with Atlanta. Because
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is one that we beat at home that was a strong team. But besides that, we beat Cincinnati, which they're right now not performing well. And then New England, they're kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
They're either good or they're really bad. And who else have we beat? Oh, I think that was it, right? Atlanta, New England, Cincinnati,
Miami.
and now Miami.
Yeah.
So out of those 4 teams, only one of them is right now mid-table.
Yeah.
And that's Atlanta. And that goal, it was a 1-0 win, and we kind of got that one by surprise.
Yeah.
Not like we surprised them,
Mm-hmm.
So if we're gonna beat Montreal, we're gonna need like some type of surprise play, some sort of like real good free kick, set piece goal type of deal. I don't think it's gonna come from,
or maybe like a quick counter attack.
yeah,
or
like a quick counter attack where we had a real good quick counter attack in the second half of this Miami game, where I think I think it was around here in the 80th minute, 81st minute, and they send it up, and we had a real good quick counter attack. They didn't show it here in the MLS highlights, but from there we had a good counter attack, but we didn't finish.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we were even able to get a shot off, but we made it down to their goal box, which was good. But that's the thing that's missing right now is we're really gonna beat this team. It's not gonna come from the same style of crossing that we've been doing, and we just got to finish better.
Yeah. I think the other good thing about this new like formation change too is before when we would like pass the ball back to the center backs, you knew they were just going to kind of restart the play really slowly, probably pass it out to one of the outside backs or pass all the way back to Kalina. This game, I mean, you saw both Fuchs and Corujo, and I think even McCoon as well towards the end, find like really good long balls over the top to like the wingers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I mean, we can, again, it'll be interesting to see how we fare against a stronger opponent, but it seems like we can kind of start our attack from anywhere now. From the outside backs, from the center backs, from Kalina.
Yep.
So we're definitely looking more of a multi-threat team. So that'll be interesting to see how we fare against Montreal.
Yeah. It was just crazy to me, like how different, and I don't know if it was because of the home crowd atmosphere or what, but just like the pace of play that we were playing at this game, was just so different from how we played at against Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we played those guys, and it was like pass it to the next guy and pass it to the next guy, but it was like they're right beside each other. Whereas of here, like you just mentioned, like the back line gets the ball and they're launching it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think even if you compare it to like some of the earlier home games too, though, like some of the passing and attacks that we saw in this game, we weren't seeing before. Like you mentioned the Atlanta game. Like, I mean, we just weren't seeing some of these combinations and some of these shots from the outside. I think the team is just looking really different. Hopefully we keep this going forward, keep the formation going forward, because it just looks so much better. I mean, I just don't see why you would go back to that diamond. It would make no sense.
Yeah, some of those passes that we saw from the back line reminded me of a lot of the Colorado game we played, where they were just kind of launching that ball upfield, and hopefully one of our strikers was there. And a lot of times on that Colorado game, our striker had to either chase down the ball or he wasn't nowhere near it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on this game, our striker, the pass was like, right where it needed to be, right in front of him, or just a couple steps ahead, where he didn't have to chase it down. Like the passes from that back line seem more accurate and
and you've got
more
two
thoughtful.
other guys that can chase it down too. You got
Yeah.
Gaines and Yazwiak or Andre and Reyna,
Yeah.
whoever plays, as
So they
opposed
seem
to
more
just
impactful is what I was trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But before we face Montreal, we do have to go up to Richmond, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and take on the Richmond Kickers. Interesting name.
The Richmond River Rats. Pretty sure that's what it is, right?
No, they're the Kickers. So we'll be playing this Wednesday for, I think it is round of 32 for the U.S. Open Cup against Richmond. You know, we watched a little bit of their highlights. I mean, that they didn't look as good as Greenville in the
No.
highlights. You know,
Probably got lucky and just advanced. I don't know. Who knows who they played in?
yeah,
They probably got a garbage team. But we should.
this should be a win. It
Yeah,
should be a
this
win.
should be an easy win.
Yeah, no extra time.
God no.
Just finish it in 90 minutes and finish it in a fashionable way.
From the highlight reel that we watched, in comparison to Greenville, this should definitely be like a 2-0 or 3-0 win.
Yeah, because I mean Greenville, they had some pace and some good attacking moments. That from the highlights we watched, we did only watch one match, but Richmond did not look anything like that. They looked very slow. Nothing.
They
that
seem
really,
to have like some of their guys seem to be way older.
Yeah. What I mean,
slow.
who do you want to?
Slow. You already said slow.
Yeah. Who do you want to see in that starting lineup with it being an Open Cup game, not an MLS game? We'll probably go further down the bench. I mean, who's if you're going with the same 4-3-3, who do you want to see play?
I say you put Rios in at starting striker, because I wanna keep Gaines fresh for the Saturday game if they're gonna keep that same lineup.
Yeah,
because he had such a great game against Miami, and I just want to keep him fresh for that, because I think like his chance, he's like 2 or 3 shots away from put one in.
Yeah.
From the chances that he's had. I'm worried about that short keeper we got. We'll see how he does. But yeah, just give the main guys a rest. Put Awful in, put Jones in. Who else? I guess Ortiz. Keep Bender out.
Yeah.
Bender needs a rest.
I guess maybe you give Franco and Alcivar
forwards.
I mean, I guess you kind of have to start like Reyna and Ortiz as the wingers, and have Rios up front, and then have Jones play Bronico's role, and have Franco and Alcivar play the Bender Ruiz role. And then again, that back line is where it gets tricky, because no Adam Armour, so you've got no one to really roll out at that left back spot. So it's
right. Definitely don't put Fuchs in.
Yeah,
Leave him out.
But then does that mean you have to play Mora, and then he's not fresh for Saturday? That's kind of tough. And I think Anton Walks is out. I think he's in England with I think visa issues right now.
Who?
Anton Walks, the backup center back.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about him, but never mind.
I don't think he is gonna be available from last I've seen. Maybe he will be. Maybe it'll be resolved before then. But last I heard, he was in England. So then that only leaves Jan Zobozinski as your backup center back.
And he might surprise us, because
I think he did good. But then it's like, do you just play him and McCoon and then Awful, and then you just don't have anyone at that left back role? Don't know who can
maybe
play
whoever
there.
plays left back just needs to play, deep or cap out at the center line.
Yeah, I mean
But then these guys are, they're pros. They know what they're doing. It's just they just need minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the lineup.
It does seem like we probably won't be able to go too deep into our bench, though.
Right.
I mean, even more reason to really put this game away early.
Exactly.
End that first half with 2 or 3 goals, and then just, don't make any silly mistakes in the second half and end it. Because we don't have a lot of depth to really go to right now. If it does get, 0-0 late like the last time, or extra time, and then just puts us at a really bad spot for Montreal on Saturday.
Yeah, I would say, just just start all your B team and maybe some of the subs that would eventually go in on Saturday's games. Um, we're playing still a lower league team, so I'm not too worried about this. We should walk away with a win. It's gonna be tricky once we start getting into the teams, like the MLS teams, and as we're going deeper into that cup. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess
hopefully
that's,
by then we'll have more players available.
and then I mean, it also gets back to, I mean, what would you rather try to win, right? The U.S. Open Cup, or make a run at playoffs? And by the time you do start facing all these other MLS sides, you know, you're going to be facing them in the middle of the week as well as at the weekend. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. You have to make a decision at some point.
we'll probably see that decision made here after this Saturday game because how many regular season games are in MLS? 20?
No, more than that. I think 30 something.
Oh, is it?
I mean, the regular season ends October 9th. We still got a long while.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. So we still got a while. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, because we're so close to securing a playoff spot. We're getting up in there. But then again, some silver would be nice in the trophy room.
Yeah, especially in the first season. And again, I think we talked about this before. That definitely helps with recruiting, right? Like, we've won stuff before. Why not join a team that wins over a team that hasn't won anything?
Very true.
So we'll see. I think I'm leaning more towards, if we win Wednesday, which we definitely should. Depending on how, again, I guess it does depend on how the regular MLS season looks. I mean, if we like comfortably beat Montreal, and then we play Vancouver after that, which that should also be a comfortable win, just based on how they've been doing. But then after that, we go play Seattle, who recently just won the CONCACAF Champions League, became the first MLS team to do so. That's going to be a tough opponent because they'll be back to playing their full regular squad in the MLS now that they're not having to worry about an international tournament. If we win that game, that would give me more hopes of that we could make a deep playoff run or even a run at the cup, and win the league in the first season. Because I mean, if you beat two big teams like Montreal and Seattle, I mean, you kind of have the results to back that thought up. If those results don't go our way, I think it makes more sense to maybe focus on the U.S. Open Cup and, like you said, try to get a piece of silver.
Piece of that, hey, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's technically kind of still, we're only a third of the way through, so
yeah.
I mean, you got to beat the River Rats first, which I'm sure we will.
Yeah, that'll be a good game, hopefully. Any last thoughts?
Oh no, let me check to see if there's any new shout outs gotta do.
Check it.
I still don't think that you can do any on Spotify.
I have no idea. I don't think so either.
Oh, well, we don't.
Nice. So no new shout outs this week. Let me check the YouTube comments. I don't think honestly don't check that as often.
Or you could probably like check it once a week and it'd be the same. We're so big.
Yeah, dude. Right, yeah, nothing too crazy on YouTube. If you do want to be shouted out, obviously leave a review on Apple or leave a comment on the YouTube channel, Offsides CLT FC podcast, and then Offsides at Apple. And that's going to be it. We will see you guys next week to recap not one, but two matches.
Who tweeted you the video link for the match replay on Twitter?
That was Top Bin 90. So shout out to him.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to him. Thanks. Because that's how I watched the game today at work. Because I didn't get to watch it on Saturday.
Yep. No ESPN Plus this time. It was on Twitter somehow.
Yeah, that's still not. It just blacked out. Doesn't make sense.
Oh, my mic apart. Nice. All right. Well, we will wrap it up there, and we will catch you guys next week. Laters.
Bye.